Our first lab is using the Wonderware Historian Client Trend basic functions. Depending on your operating system, you're going to have a different way to access Historian Trend. Here on my Metro UI, I can click on the tile Configure for Trend. And this is the first dialog we are going to get, the server list configuration. Under Server, we enter the name of the node where the Historian server is running. For authentication information, we are going to use Integrated Security and leave the rest of the settings by default. Click Add, and we are connected, so we can close. Now here we can identify the tag picker, the trend chart area, the tag list, and the toolbars area. First, we are going to add some tags to the chart. So let's look for prod level. Here it is. And holding the Control key, we can select multiple tags. So we are going to select React level and React temp as well. We drag them and drop them. And here they are listed on the tag list as well. Now notice that on the left side we have the scaling values, the maximum and minimum, and we have the red dotted line indicating that our React temp has a defined alarm limit. And we actually have some values that are going over that limit and they are on red as well. We can also see that the trends are not using all the chart space available. So we are going to click on the Auto Scale All Tags button here on the scaling toolbar. And notice that the scale values change as well. Now by default the duration is 5 minutes, so we are going to change this to 10 minutes. When I click on the duration field, notice that the start date and time gets the blue halo, meaning that one is the one that is going to adjust to the new duration value. So I'm going to select here 10 minutes. And the start date and time got updated. Now we are going to change the start date and time. When I click on it, the halo goes to the end date and time, meaning that is the one that is going to get updated. So I will use the calendar option and I'm going to select data from yesterday. We click enter. And notice that now we are looking at values from yesterday. Now we are going to change the value for the end date and time using the calendar as well, and we are going to go back to today data. So I'll select today, click enter, and the duration is going to be updated now. Notice that it changed from 10 minutes to 1 day and 10 minutes. But this data is unreadable. We cannot really identify one tag from the other. So we are going to change the duration back to 10 minutes. And we are going to enable the current time mode, meaning we want to see the most recent information stored in the database. We still have difficulty looking at the tags altogether. So we are going to enable the single tag mode to see one at a time. So here we have the prod level, the React level, and the React temp. We disable it again, and now we can use the stack traces function. So we select stack traces, and the chart area gets split in 3 rows, and each row will be used for one of the tags. To go back, we can click again on it to disable it. So now we are going to save our train. We go to File, Save, and we are going to select the training folder under the C drive, and we are going to change the name to Reactor Variables, and by default it will be an AA trend file. So we'll save it, and now we can play a bit with the configuration. So let's right click on React level, select Configure, and on the General tab we are going to change the width to 3 and the type of interpolation to point. Click OK. And now we can see the actual points retrieved from the database for React level. If we want to see the actual values, we can open the data log. So let's open it in white format. And here we have all the data that is being displayed right now on the chart. So let's click on File and save it, Save As. Again under the training folder, and we are going to change the name to Reactor Report by default .csv. Let's save it, close it, and let's take a look at the statistical information of the tags that we have displayed. So we click on the Statistics button, and here we can see our tags, how many samples per tag we are displaying, the minimum value, the maximum value, the average. So let's save this file for later review. save as, and we are going to call this one reactor statistics. By default, CSV file. Save it, close it. So now let's make some annotations. We know that the reactor temperature is having some values over the alarm limit. So let's take a note about that. We right-click close to the reactor temperature, select Add Annotation, and notice that this one will be linked to the React Temperature tag, and enter your comment, over limit here. I will leave it as private, click OK. And here we have our blue dot, indicating that there is an annotation. If we put the mouse over that blue dot, we are going to see the content of that annotation. So now let's do the same for the reactor level. So here, an annotation. This one is for the level. High level here. Click OK. Here we have our blue dot. And for the prod level, an annotation. It is linked to the prod level, and enter your note. Low level here. Okay. Now, if we want to see a list of all these annotations in one single place, we can either click on the View Annotation List button, or we can go to the View menu and select Annotation List. And here they are, all the annotations that are in the chart right now. Okay, we can close them. And now let's do some scaling. So we are going to select the React level, and we are going to scale it to its original scale. So remember, we have a set of functions that will affect the selected tag and another set of functions that will affect all the tags on the chart. Well, we are going to select the individual one. So here we have the scale, the current tag to its original scale, and notice that the scale values change. Now we are going to use the rubber band scaling to do some zooming here. So we click here to enable it, and notice that my cursor changed to across, and we are going to zoom in here on the peak of the react temperature. And remember that we could keep zooming in to see as much detail as possible. To restore the trend, we can use the undo button. Here we go. And now let's try to enable the live mode. So we click here. Now notice that the chart is updating every second. If we want to change this value, we can go to the chart menu, go to Properties, and here we can change on the General tab the live mode refresh interval. So we are going to change that value to 5 seconds. And click OK. Now notice that the chart will start updating every 5 seconds. And now we are going to create an XY scatter plot. So we go to File, New, and there here under the chart menu, we select a chart type as XY scatter plot. Here on the tag picker, now we look for the React temperature and React level tags. Holding the Control key, we can select both of them, drag them and drop them in the tag list area. Now right-click on React level, go to Configure. Under the X-axis tag drop-down list, we select the React temp, click OK, and here we have our XY scatter plot. Now it is not using all the space available in the chart, so let's use the Auto Scale All Tags button. And let's use the live mode. Now here we can see the 2 data points moving to reflect the live update rate. Now let's save it. We go to File, Save. And we are going to call this one XY scatter plot, and by default it's going to be an AA trend file. Let's save it on the training folder, and let's close all our trends, saving them when appropriate. We know we already saved this one, so we can select no, and I don't remember if I saved this one, so I'm going to select yes. Okay, we are done with our first practice.